Yes, good morning, fellow Americans. Here once again, informing of what's happening. We always requesting the freedom of Jose Daniel Ferrer Garcia, an innocent man who was kidnapped and is being tortured in the hellish prisons of Cuba. I'm also requesting the release immediately of all the rest of the other political prisoners in Cuba, including those of Venezuela, Nicaragua, North Korea, and China. Oh, here once again. Good morning to all my fellow patriots, here to inform on what's happening in the world. Not according to me, according to the news. I'll give some of my opinions, which probably don't count, but I won't stop giving my peace of mind. Like always, I start off with Islam, the so-called religion of peace. Listen to this one. The House Dems, let convicted terrorists work for the TSA. Can you believe this? This is coming out of the Democrats, which is infiltrated by the communists and Islamic terrorists. They want the TSA to hire terrorists. Let them work for the TSA. That's what the House Dems are requesting, which include AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and this other lady who I never remember her name. Let me see if I can see her name right immediately. But they're terrible. They are the enemy of the United States. Like I say, in the future, God forbid, we change our mind for voting for Donald Trump. Let's go to the next right, which would be the Tea Party. The Tea Party movement. Don't go left. The left is a destructive organization which has turned against the United States completely. In case the signal goes off, remember, don't forget to access what I post on my blog by printing down my name, Eduardo Rodriguez. I pledge allegiance to the flag. I'm a veteran. I serve my country, and I am a patriot, a true patriot who loves my country, and I support Donald Trump. So if you want somebody who's a patriot, who loves his country, who loves his people, go to my blog. There's many others. There's Dan Bongino, there's Alex Jones, there's Don Miller from The Blaze, there's Brandon Tatum. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right. He's great too. There's many more. Laura Ingraham from the Ingraham angle. I say Laura Ingraham. I got the bad habit of pronounce it in Spanish, but it's Laura Ingram. That's the way that's supposed to be pronounced. So excuse me if I pronounce it half English, half Spanish. But there's many others. Like I say, there's Mark Levin, Mark Dice. Mark Dice. I would say the good thing about Mark Dice is that he goes to the point short. But with his argument, he destroys the Democrats. He completely destroyed them, and it's short. Maybe it lasts like 4 or 5 minutes, but the guy is just great. Let me see if I can. There's a whole bunch of other ones. The names are not coming up real quick on my mind. But there's a whole bunch of other ones that are great. Let me show you the face of the squad. I want you to see their faces. These people are the enemy, the true enemy of the United States. That's the faces right there. And you know what? They enjoy doing what they're doing, trying to destroy America. And they smile and they laugh about it. They spit on our faces. And you know what? Nothing is done to deport these people or remove them. Ilhan should be removed. Rashida should be removed. These other two should be exiled to North Korea. That's why I would exile them to the worst, North Korea, and see if they smile about it. Or send them to Somalia, to an Islamic state, where they wouldn't last maybe a day. They, they wouldn't probably last a day. They probably the body come back without a head. That's why I was sending them. See if they come back smiling. Probably they use their rear to smile because they're not going to come back with a head. Okay, let's go to the next one. From Sudan. Sudan, if I'm not mistaken, is maybe, no, wait a minute. No, I don't want to make the mistake of saying it's part of Africa, but I guess it's in the northern part, near Africa. I guess. I just don't remember right now the map situation. Muslims tell ex-Muslims, listen to this, from the religion of peace, okay? We will kill you because you left Islam and became infidels. This one coming out from the mouth. This is why this criminal satanic organization is growing. Because if you don't leave, they kill you, and if you leave, they'll kill you. So you don't got no other choice. And let's say they make you leave, they make you pay an assortment amount of tax. I think it's a 50%, and they do it on purpose. Besides killing you, because there are dates where they just come out and they start killing Christians from right to left. So, they've been eliminating Christians little by little and imposing their will. They know by committing acts of terrorism, by burning people alive, by burying them alive, by hanging them, by running them over with a tank. They do all kinds of sorts of terrorist acts in order to force you into turning into a Muslim. You got no other choice. That's why it's growing. It's growing to love. They're not spreading love. They're just spreading their hate and their terror. That's all it is. And there's a slave system, oppressive slave system. It might be a little bit less worse than communism. Because even though in Islam they'll enslave you, they'll murder you, but if you abide by the Sharia satanic law, then you can live a system of free marketing, because it's free marketing. Women are slaves. Women are categorized and reduced to a level of slavery. Slaves. Even dogs, even pets are treated better than women, because a pet can roam. A woman cannot do anything unless she gets the permission of the husband. And you know what? You know what's most amazing about the liberals? You got liberals supporting that. And they're so deranged that they go to these countries, they come back without a head. Well, you got them, you got them. You never know the suicidal mind of a liberal. When they want to do outrageous, incredible, lethal things, they'll do it. It'll be the last time, but they'll do it. It's the set up mind of a liberal. Those are the ones that want to destroy the United States. Okay, this is from India. 4 Muslims returning from Dubai refused coronavirus tests. Say Islam does not permit such tests. Can you believe this? Deport them. Hey, India, what the hell's the matter with you? Here in the United States, deport them anyway. Even if they do, deport them. Let them do it and deport them. They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be in India. What's happened with the Prime Minister of India? I thought he was strong against the Muslim faction. Deport them. Wasn't it because of their fault India was divided into two countries, Pakistan and India? What happened? Oh, but you haven't seen the movie Gandhi? It's a stupid nation. I thought India was smarter than that. I guess I'm wrong. Okay, it's from the Religion of Peace. New York, this is in New York, the state of New York, the communist state of New York, with the communist de Blasio and this other Cuomo. Muslima, this is a Muslima, stole over 150,000 to support the Islamic State and tried to join. Send them over there. Ain't we bombing the hell out of them over there? Send them over there. At least we can do it legally over there. Here we can't sentence her to death for committing treason and trying to attempt against our nation. Send it to where we're bombing the hell out. Oh, Afghanistan or I don't know, Somalia too. Send them over there. She can serve as a target. Target practice for the pilots. At least, well, it'll be one time, but it'll be a practice. Use it as a target practice. And they're over there, we'll practice on them. Over there, it's legal to annihilate them. Here, it's not. Here you got Democrats, the worst of the kind. Well, the Communist Party now, not the Democrat, I'm sorry, it's the CPUSA members supporting this evil. You got Bernie Sanders, probably Bernie Sanders will come in and support her, most likely. Okay, let's go to the next one. I hope that the signal doesn't go off before I go to videos. I got a couple of good videos. Okay. Far left Google's it's right. Far left Google right gets it right. Okay. Far left Google gets it right. Democratic Party search results picture a rat. And I put down as an extra title exactly what they are. Someone was able to correct the Google search results for the Democrat Party. If you Google Democrat Party, it shows the rat. I kind of find it funny because the guy put down, and they finally put it down right, because that's what they represent. Well, I don't want who didn't put it down, so they can't blame it on me. Look at it right there. So they hit it in the mark. That's what they represent. A dirty gutter sewer rat. Go to the next one. Extremely deranged is the title I put down. But look, it says here. Let's go to this one here. Coronavirus challenge. Social media influencer licks plane's toilet seat. This lady licks a toilet seat. This is how incredibly cuckoo the Democrats are. It's kind of funny that one time a general in the Second World War, when the Germans asked him to surrender, he had the guy that was going to write what he's going to say. He said nuts, and the guy wrote that down to the person in charge of sending that letter. I don't know if it was a general or was a colonel or what was his rank, or a major. It could have been a major. He thought he was going to intimidate the armed forces, the American armed forces, and the guy said nuts, and that's what the secretary wrote down and sent back to the person requesting to surrender. Now instead of dealing with German enemies, we're dealing with this. Look, I'm going to show you her. I wonder there's a guy who want to marry her after licking a seat where somebody pooped in. Look at this. Let me put it up a little bit more so you can see clearly. There you go. Don't you love it? Wouldn't you love to take a girl like that to your house and present her to your parents? Hey, mom, look at my girlfriend. You'll probably kill your parents, give your parents a heart attack. Look at that. Imagine you French kissing French kissing a girl like that. God, I'm telling you, you know, hey, Saturday Night Live ain't like what it used to be, because this could be used against the Democrats, but they won't do it. You know why? Because they're part of the problem. I hope Mark Dice can do something. Hey, maybe Mark Dice could get an idea for this one, because Mark Dice is great. Oh, these people. Let me see if I remember. Wow, I forgot the name. Jesus Christ. Let me see if I get it. This is another one, a conservative, which is kind of like a comedy news network, something like Saturday Night Live, but conservative. I don't remember the name right now. Wow. My mind is not going to help me. No. Sorry, I can't help it, but they should use this as a comedy. I hope he does. Most surely he will, because if he sees this, believe me, this is going to go haywire all over the place. Yeah, it's going to be tweeted all around the planet. Oh my God! I'm telling you, these people are a joke. Let me get rid of this one. Don't eat while you're watching this, because you probably vomit. Oh my God! Besides the title, I put down extremely deranged. San Francisco goes on lockdown. Residents ordered to shelter in place for 3 weeks in response to coronavirus panic. I wrote down, additionally, besides the title, it would probably help if you all vote Republican. The ones destroying the cities are the communists. Yeah, the communists, which took over the Democrat Party, which used to be the Democrat Party. They've taken the city of San Francisco and they destroyed it. People pooping all over the place, poop inside stores, pooping in subways, pooping while you're eating in a restaurant. You know, I wouldn't be surprised that the whole state is contaminated with coronavirus after this. But that happens because you voted for a Democrat. So you asked for it. Let's go to the next one. It's like New York. It's going to the shithole. But who asked for it? The people who voted for de Blasio. You voted for communists. There you go. Now you gotta do like the lady in the plane. You gotta lick it. Go to the next one. I'm amazed at these people. Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders both vowed to choose female vice presidents as vice presidents. You know, these people are evil to the core. I can imagine them picking more likely a female communist, a title that I put up apart besides the original title. Bernie Sanders most likely will pick AOC, who's a hardcore communist. Even though she's practically just as deranged, but you know, I'm for sure he would pick her. And Joe Biden, most likely a little bit Warren, whose nose keeps growing by the day. Okay, let's go to the next one. I think these people are a joke. Judge grants Department of Justice motion to drop Mueller junk Russian bot case against Concord Management. That's old news. Where he should be is in prison for lying and for threatening the President of the United States with false information. That's what they should all be, in prison. Coronavirus. White House drafting order to establish medical supply chains in the U.S. Thank God. He's doing something. Plus, I heard this, now that I remember, there's a medication that came out, which I heard from the Ingram angle, from Laura Ingram. She was mentioning Conotane. I think the name is Conotane. It's a medication. No, Chlorotane. Chlorotane, I think. I'm not sure is the name. Well, I got it here. I posted somewhere here. Let me see if I can get it right away. No, I'm not going to find it right away, but I know it's like Chlorotane, which has proven to be an effective medication. On 2 patients, it completely eradicated the virus. So there's hope. There's hope. Thank God. We don't have to wait for the vaccine. Maybe the vaccine, if they improve it and is effective, it'll work. But according to what she was saying, and from what I'm hearing, chlorotine is the immediate cure. It's an immediate cure right now. Hope is true. Okay, let's go to the next news. It gets worse and worse. Joe Biden backs taxpayer-funded abortions, said his health care plan requires it. More funds to murder babies. That's another title that I put apart besides the original title, which is what they're doing. But you know what's funny is that they were already born. It couldn't be before they were born, just when they were about to be born. Impose it on them only. Let's see the video. I want to see the video from this nut. It's short.
Right now, a woman's right to control her own body is
Bernie Sanders.
unprecedented assault. Joe, you have in the past, on more than one occasion, voted for the Hyde Amendment, which says that a requirement that you have Hyde Amendment, a woman who doesn't have the money could not have coverage.
Biden is also a murderer.
Well,
These are the people who you're going to vote for. I'm talking to the Democrats, people that are murderers. Bernie Sanders worse than Joe Biden. Joe Biden's at least manipulative, but Joe Biden is the worst of kind. He criticizes Joe Biden, what he will do to the American people. He will kill millions. He won't only kill the babies, he will kill millions of innocent people due to hunger, lack of starvation, and execution. He's a hardcore communist. But you believe in his BS. I hope it never happens. Okay, let's go. This is a bunch of news, still a bunch of news, and the signal just went off for a few seconds. I'm going to keep on going until it goes off because what the hell? I can't do anything about the signal. Another news here: liberal hack reporters deliberately use half of President Trump's quoting conference call with governors on coronavirus in order to cause panic. From the New York Times. Oh. I'm trying to go a little bit quicker here because I'm afraid the signal's gonna go off on me. And there's videos I want to put down here that are very interesting. SEAL Team star David Boreanaz accuses CNN of trafficking in fear with his coronavirus coverage. This is the SEAL Team star. He's denouncing the media for trying to cause panic. Okay, let's go to the next one, which I think is now it falls into videos. Okay, well, let me go back again because I posted it. Okay, now what happened? I posted it before, and what I do, I just said I go one step back and then back again. Now all the videos show up. Let me see if I finish here with the videos in this. Okay, yeah. I got one, just in case the signal goes. Remember, if you can't see them right now, go to my blog, Eduardo Rodriguez. I pledge allegiance to the flag, and you'll find them all there. Let me go to the first one. Okay, wait a minute.
Ayanna Pressley echoes squad member AOC and blames Americans for Chinese food restaurants decline. I'm Josh Bernstein filling in for Gary Ritchie in the Next News Network. Now, before I get to that story, folks, remember Next News is being heavily censored and taken out of suggested videos, so please do us a favor. Make sure you're still subscribed. You're getting your notifications. And, of course, if you're new to the channel, please check out the newsletter in the description below.
Before I go further, all of us have fears and stresses. I'm willing to bet that one of them is probably about money. Now, since 2015, gold has been on the rise, but you still have time to get it before it's out of reach. Create your financial safety net by calling 877-646-5347 or hit the link down below to get the free investment guide. Check out Noble Gold at noblegoldinvestments.com today. Now, let's get back to the news.
Now, let's get to your story here. According to Jim Hoff for the Gateway Pundit, Ayanna Pressley is giving Mad Maxine a run for her money. The Massachusetts Democrat lashed out at racist and xenophobic Republicans for using the accurate term, the Chinese coronavirus. Well, she followed that up with that silly and stupid statement by blaming Republicans for people avoiding to eat at Chinese restaurants in her district. Wow, what an idiot. Go ahead and roll this clip.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to our esteemed witnesses for returning today. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak, we have seen not only the spreading of the virus, but also a rapid spreading of racism
She lost her brains,
and xenophobia.
besides the
We
hair.
witnessed at the highest levels, in fact, of the Republican Party fanning irresponsibly these flames. One colleague tweeted that everything you need to know about the Chinese coronavirus, unquote. My district is home to nearly 32% foreign-born residents, with more than a quarter immigrating from Asia. This painful rhetoric has consequences. Restaurants across Boston's Chinatown have seen up to an 80% drop in business. And I believe this has everything to do with the rapid spread of misinformation and paranoia. It is critical that we stand against these insightful messages and assuage fear in our communities. And we do that by dispelling untruths and misinformation. We can only do that by sharing the facts. And that is why I'm grateful to have you here today.
The COVID-19 virus, which originated in Wuhan, China, has hurt Chinese businesses in New York City, according to local business leaders. However, Peter Tu, a director at the Flushing Chinese Business Association, noted that many of those avoiding public outings, such as places to go out to eat, including the city's East Asian residents themselves, everybody is suffering when it comes to the restaurants. Now, if Ayanna Pressley was honest and she'd really want to lash out at someone, why don't you lash out at your fellow prostitutes at CNN and MSLSD and ABC and CBS and NBC and all the other left-wing outlets out there that have been causing a panic and a stir of craziness and using this to bludgeon the President of the United States, who, by the way, has done an incredible job trying to keep everything together and to keep Americans safe. But no. You're looking at it as another opportunity to try to hurt the president because everything that you have thrown at him has not worked. Well, guess what? This won't either. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. Give us a like, give us a share. Continue to watch the Next News Network. I'm Josh Bernstein, filling in for Gary Ritchie. If you want to
Let's go to the
learn
next
about me,
one.
check out the Josh Bernstein Show on YouTube and now streaming on Roku TV. And we'll see you.
It's great. This the Next News Network, Next News Network is great. I recommend it. Okay, let's go to the next news here. These are all videos, and
Now, we'll win
the
because
rest of
we're
them are
running on the
showing you.
issues facing this country, and because we're leveling with the American people
Mike
by the
Pence.
stakes and the choice.
know, the American people are tired of being told. They're tired of being told that this is as good as it gets. They're tired of hearing politicians in both parties tell us that we'll get to that tomorrow while we pile a mountain range of debt on our children and our grandchildren. And as Ronald Reagan used to say, they're tired of being told that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives better for us than we can plan them for ourselves. It's resolved here and now that Hillary Clinton will never become president of the United States of America. You know, truth is a force of nature. Truth has a way of making its way out. I mean, we found out in the last week alone that the State Department under Hillary Clinton actually offered the FBI a quid pro quo if they would allow her to change the classified status of certain emails. We found out that even though she said it had never happened, that while she was Secretary of State, aides to Hillary Clinton actually said that they should flag businesses that were friends of the Clintons for contracts for the reconstruction of Haiti after an earthquake. And then just this week, we learned about the fact that a top aide to the Clintons would raise money for the Clinton Foundation from top-tier corporations, many of which were also lobbying the State Department, and then at the same time press those same corporations for personal contracts and personal income for Bill Clinton. They're even calling it Clinton Incorporated. But the big breaking news today, you may not have heard about it standing in line, folks, is that now we just learned that Hillary Clinton may have been a whole lot more than extremely careless when it came to handling classified information. The director of the FBI, James Comey, this afternoon just sent a letter to the Congress reopening the investigation against Hillary Clinton and her private email server.
I hope it's true. He should be in prison.
Court judge today ordered the deposition of Hillary Clinton in a judicial watch lawsuit. The former Secretary of State will have to answer questions under oath about her emails and Benghazi attack documents. Judge Royce Lambert stated the following in his ruling, quote, "The State Department has thus failed to persuade the court that all of Secretary Clinton's recoverable emails have been located. This is unacceptable." Joining us tonight, Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch. And Tom, congratulations on this ruling. And your thoughts about where this goes now. This is not the first time that a judge has said proceed. It's striking that it's in a D.C. federal court, district court.
Yes, and it's over the objections of the Justice Department and the State Department. They were in court in December against us on this very issue, trying to shut the inquiry down. We have one or two attorneys on our side. I'm sitting there. On the other side are 6 attorneys with the government and 4 lawyers for Hillary Clinton and her aides. And thankfully, the judge overruled the objections to further questioning here, because we have had more evidence come out as a result of discovery. In this case, this is the case, by the way, Lou, that broke open the Clinton email scandal way back in 2015. It's about Benghazi talking points. And, you know, the judge wants to know, what was Hillary Clinton thinking when she was using this system as it relates to the Freedom of Information Act? He wants to know about whether there are document issues related to Benghazi. And her top aide, Cheryl Mills, also has to be questioned. He also authorized us to subpoena Google because there's this issue about whether one of her email aides or vendors had sent all of her emails to a Google account. So this is a broadening inquiry. It's limited in scope. We can't get to ask every question under the sun we might want to. But it's remarkable that the Justice Department, State Department opposed this.
The State Department and the Justice Department.
Yeah, they were all in there yelling about it. Yep. Every effort we made to get more answers, they've opposed.
On what grounds, if I may inquire? I mean, I hate to see them stunned, but to see this Justice Department again trying to shut down an inquiry into a matter that is far from settled, and certainly in the view of the public, is remarkable.
Well, they suggested the extraordinary circumstances necessary for discovery and questioning witnesses under oath hadn't been met by the Clinton email scandal. They didn't think it was serious enough. They thought all the questions had been answered, and obviously the court disagreed. We're getting more testimony showing that there was, for instance, we just got a Benghazi email showing that they had a Benghazi email for years that they're holding back, and that it had been disclosed. The whole email scandal would have been exposed years ago. And then the FBI and State Department are dribbling out more Clinton emails. The judge is upset with the way this has been handled by the State Department and the Justice Department, and he thinks Hillary Clinton can provide more information because she has answered questions under oath, but in writing to us. And from the judge's point of view, that hasn't been sufficient, and we should be able to question her directly. Our attorneys will, and follow up directly with her in person. So this is a straightforward case in many respects. What's remarkable is the obstruction we've been facing from this administration. Now, the president said, what I tweeted about this from one of our last appearances, he said it was a disgrace that the Justice Department was still defending Hillary Clinton, and we'll see what happens next. We have to get it done within 75 days.
Well, good luck, and the country desperately needs to know the answers to the questions you're going to pose. And good for Judge Lambert for standing up for justice of all things. Let me turn to Lindsey Graham, congratulating Joe and Jill Biden on their South Carolina victory. And he still has not done anything about investigating the Bidens and Burisma, the entire Ukrainian quagmire.
President should appoint a special counsel independent of the Justice Department, the FBI, and frankly Congress, and order full transparency by his agencies so the American people can see the information as opposed to relying on the hapless Congress or, in many ways, the co-conspirators in Congress with the deep state to find out the truth. They're usually involved either in covering it up, or they're uninterested in finding it, or they really don't know what to do.
Well, Tom, I have to say, I support your idea of a special counsel because of, I share, as you know, Judicial Watch's commitment to the public's right to know. But I also have to admit that there is a small, petty, insignificant particle of pettiness in me that would like to see the delicious moment at which the president seeks a special counsel on someone else. It would be somewhat ironic justice, if you will. Tom Fitton, thank you so much.
Okay, let's go to the next video. The signal went off for a couple of seconds. I'm gonna keep on here until I see that I have no choice but to end the stream. But like I say, always go to my blog. I already said it, by putting down my name, I pledge allegiance to the flag. I already said my name, Eduardo Rodriguez. Let me put it down again just in case you missed the name. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let me put the shortest one, then I'll go to with the longest one. I think these are short ones. Yeah.
LOL, conservative radio host Dana Lash puts Joe Biden on blast with an epic Hillary smear. I'm Josh Bernstein filling in for Gary Franchi on the Next News Network. Now, before I get to the story, folks, remember Next News is being heavily censored and taken out of suggested videos, so please do us a favor. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. You're getting notifications. And, of course, if you're new to the channel, please check out the newsletter in the description below. Now, let's get to your story here. According to David Creighton from the Daily Caller, conservative radio talk show host Dana Lash said Thursday that former Vice President Joe Biden's campaign behavior is so offensive that he has achieved the absolute impossible, and that is making Hillary Clinton seem more likable. For Joe Biden to behave like this, he actually might make Clinton seem likable, which he would have accomplished the absolute impossible to do that, Lesh told Fox and Friends. Go and roll this clip.
Trail making it the latest
example. Even though I don't think anybody likes Hillary.
With voters and reporters who challenge him.
because now you got to be honest.
Well, that's not true. You're saying things you do not know what you're talking about.
I'm beginning to see why your wife left you.
Wait. You're getting nervous, man.
Get your words straight, Jack. Goddamn liar, man.
You should vote for Trump. You should vote for Trump.
So here to react is radio talk show host and author of a new book called Grace Canceled, Dana Lash. Hey, Dana.
Ainsley, good morning to you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So if he continues this, if he keeps it up, which many people anticipate he will, what happens then?
I just don't think that it looks good for him. And Ainsley, the craziest thing that I have seen in, I guess, defense of Biden's behavior here is people are saying, well, we found our Trump. He's like Trump. There's a huge difference between what President Trump does on behalf of American voters and on behalf of people who feel that for the past decade and more, they've been really persecuted and kind of kicked around by one ideology in the United States. And then Joe Biden, who's literally arguing with those exact voters. So there's a huge difference between that. And so that comparison doesn't really work out. But he needs to not make Bernie Sanders look like the same candidate if he wants to win. I mean, Bernie Sanders is already pretty out there and he always yells. And we don't need Joe Biden doing the same, although if that's all the party has to offer, it's all they have to offer.
All right. And what do you think about Hillary Clinton?
Hillary Clinton, for Joe Biden to behave like this, he actually might make her seem likable, which he would have accomplished the absolute impossible to do that.
Many people are wondering if she's going to be his vice president. We'll see. Thank you.
Biden most recently yelled and swore at a Michigan auto worker who disagreed with Joe Biden's stance on gun confiscation. He once told a potential supporter in Iowa to vote for, quote, someone else, that when the two disagreed. He loves to tell people to come on, let's go outside. One day someone's going to take him up on it and say, come on, let's go outside. And then he's going to have to back down, or he's going to have to go outside, and we'll see what happens after that. But it's like, no matter what he does, it's like, hey, you want to go outside and do push-ups? Like, no, I don't, you freak. On another occasion, he called a student a lying. No, he said, I'm a Democratic caucus, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's almost as bad as the lying dog-faced pony soldier comment. When he didn't believe the young woman had ever attended a party caucus before. Bottom line is, he has dementia. Okay? Joe has dementia. Newsflash at 11. Joe Biden is suffering from debilitating dementia. He's not going to get better. He's only going to get worse. He is right now in stage 2 of dementia. He's on his way to stage 3. Okay? When stage 4 happens, you don't know who you are. You don't remember anything. You will get angry at nothing. You will mumble and slur your words and all that. Again, he is damaged goods in the brain. Now, I'm not making fun of him. I'm just putting it out there. This is a fact. Okay? My father had the same thing, and I watched him deteriorate. I watched the different stages of dementia. Joe has dementia. There's even a possibility, and I'm certainly not wishing it on him. I don't want to take that the wrong way here. There's a possibility he might not even make it to the election. He might die beforehand. That's a real possibility. He has severe advanced dementia. And it's about time that not only someone say it, but number 2, somebody does something about it. The Democrats don't care. And now they're stuck with a dementia-ridden candidate who basically, whoever the VP is going to be the person that's running against President Trump. Because Joe Biden is clearly not running against President Trump. Joe Biden doesn't even know who he is anymore. And it's sad. It's the worst case of elder abuse I have ever seen in a national campaign, certainly. And it's really sad that this is continuing to go on. Anyway, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. Give us a like, give us a share. Continue to watch the Next News Network. I'm Josh Bernstein.
Go to the next one.
If you want to learn more about me,
Great.
check out the
Next
Josh
News
Bernstein
Network.
Show.
Recommended
on YouTube,
100%.
and now also
One
streaming
of the
on
best
TV.
sources of
We'll
information,
see you
which is
on the next
quick,
one.
on the spot.
So here's the deal. We got to continue this conversation about those.
Okay, let's go to the next one. I'm trying to do the short ones first, because those ones that don't last too long. Which I might put it on anyway, because it's just great. From Next
Barack
News
Obama fuels
Network.
panic in America by praising mass hysteria and cancellations of sports. I'm Josh Bernstein filling in for Gary Franchi.
Talking about evilness,
Now, before I get to the story, folks,
Barack
remember next
Obama's
week,
back.
Get the app in the Google Play Store and make sure you get your 30-day free trial. Do not browse without it. Hit the link down below. Now, back to the news.
Now, let's get to your story here. According to Christina Latham for the Gateway Pundit, Barack Obama popped off about the coronavirus on Thursday. Obama praised the cancellations of large gatherings and American sporting events. First the NBA, then the NHL, then the Major League Baseball spring training cancellations, and then, of course, March Madness. The NCAA canceled Division I men's and women's 2020 basketball tournaments and all remaining winter and spring NCAA championships due to coronavirus concerns. Obama praised the cancellations, although there were no such measures taken when swine flu was sweeping the nation when he was president in 2009. If you're wondering whether it's an overreaction to cancel large gatherings and public events, and I love basketball, he said, here's a useful primer as to why these measures can slow the spread of the virus and save lives. We have to look out for each other, Obama said, linking to a Vox article. Barack Obama is in no position to lecture the American people or Americans or the Trump administration in how to deal with pandemics, okay? In October of 2009, Barack Obama declared the H1N1 a national emergency. But this was not before millions of Americans were already infected and over 1,000 Americans were dead from the viral infection. In fact, Obama waited 6 months before declaring the H1N1 a national emergency. And despite the fact that the virus was coming from into the United States from Mexico, well, guess what? President Obama never shut down the border to Mexico. In fact, he kept it open and allowed more people to come into the country. Over 60 million Americans were infected with the swine flu, and over 12,000 Americans died. But there was no mass hysteria. There was no cancellation of sporting events. There was no cancellation of large gatherings. There was no pandemic hysteria when Obama was president. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because the media are nothing better than prostitutes, or shall we call them prostitutes, for the Democratic Party. That's why. Because their Kenyan Marxist was the equivalent of the Black Jesus. That's why. And he could do nothing wrong. And that's why. They protected him. No matter what you said about him, what was the deal? Oh, you can't say anything negative about Barack Hussein Soetoro Marshall Davis Obama, because then you're considered a racist, right? Immediately with the race card out. Well, guess what? President Trump is taking care of this virus. He is taking care of the American people. And it is the media and the prostitutes in the media that are helping the Democrats and crashing this economy when there is no need to crash this economy. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. Give us a like. Give us
100% true what he's saying.
Network. I'm Josh Bernstein filling in for Gary Franchi. If you want to learn more.
Not only was he our first Black African-American president, he was also our first communist, Islamic terrorist criminal in chief. That's what Obama was. And he's still trying to ruin us, to ruin our nation. Let's go to the next one. Those are my thoughts. Let's go to the next video.
Congressman Devin Nunes represents California.
Devin Nunes, he's brilliant. Tucker Carlson is another great source of news. I forgot his name at first.
I think it's frustrating. The American people are
And David
sick and
Nunes.
tired of the Clinton White House or Hillary Clinton. She didn't get prosecuted, even though she had those classified emails on her server. And look, I give kudos to Judicial Watch. They've been tough. They've stayed on this, and that's what we have to do in this town. These people just don't lie down. They don't go away. You have to fight them every single step of the way. It's what you have to do. And 6 years, the way I understand it, I just saw Tom Fitton here in the Fox studio.
Hillary is one of the most evil person on
She should
earth.
be deposed in about 75 days.
He should be in prison.
75 days. since 2012. I mean, it's been a while.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for that. Now, you filed your own suit against the Washington Post, which was a daily newspaper now owned by the world's richest man as a kind of vanity publication. Why are you suing them? On what grounds?
Well, it's funny you say that, right? Like, this is the world's richest man. I call it his glamour project. He wants to promote his company here in the nation's capital. I get that. But it's not okay to slander and defame me. And if you may remember, when the Russia hoax was resurrected again just a couple weeks ago before we went into the coronavirus issue, we were talking about Russia again. And they brought me into this. They claimed that I had went to the White House, that I had talked to the president, that I got the acting director of the National Intelligence fired. Well, there's a problem with the story, Tucker. I never spoke to the president. I never spoke to the president about McGuire. In fact, the day that they claim that I supposedly went to the White House, I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so, so we filed today in federal court. My guess is that Bezos, who has billions, he'll hire an army of lawyers and his people won't be held accountable. And we have to, as Republicans, start to fight back against this fake news. You just can't take something and make it up out of whole cloth. Okay, when I was in another state, for God's sakes, I never talked to the president. This is easy to prove. And what'll happen, I promise you, is they'll hide. They'll hide from the federal judge, and the judge will have to get them to come in.
Guys, this is a broader, more philosophical question, but I think it's important. Why do the rest of us play along in pretending the Washington Post is like a newspaper? It's a news organization. They're covering the news. When it's one man's propaganda operation, why don't we just say that?
Well, look, I do, right? So I don't talk to the Washington Post, and I advise all my colleagues not to talk to the Washington Post. And look, I think one of the things here, and this is actually in my lawsuit, is that you took them to task, actually. So the reporter that wrote this is a true Russia hoaxer. And you showed that on your show, I think a few months ago, that they are used to. They continually talked about there was no FISA abuse, the dossier wasn't used to get a FISA warrant. They were wrong. They never corrected that. And so I think that's part of what you're seeing here is that I've continued to hold these media companies accountable, and they don't like it. And so that they just think it's funny to throw me into their fake news stories, and I'm not going to stand for it. That's why, I urge everybody. I've created defendusa.com, so that if you're out there and you believe that we should be fighting, you can go there and join the fight.
So the world's richest man owns the local newspaper in the world's most powerful city, but nobody thinks that's a problem. Nobody thinks that's undue concentration of power. Nobody thinks that maybe Jeff Bezos has an agenda, which he so obviously does. I mean, it's a little weird that we don't say that out loud, but I agree with you. It's not worth debating. It's garbage. They're liars.
And I'm saying it at federal court, Tucker. I mean, that's exactly what I say in federal court today.
Well, you should. It's garbage. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time.
A D.C. District Court judge today ordered the deposition of Hillary Clinton in a Judicial Watch lawsuit. The former Secretary of State will have to answer questions under oath about her emails and Benghazi attack documents. Judge Royce Lambert stated the following.
She should be in prison.
The State Department has thus failed to persuade the court that all of Secretary Clinton's
Lock her up.
emails have been located. This is unacceptable. Joining us tonight, Tom Fitton, President of Judicial Watch.
Okay, this is repeated in the other video that I put down. Let's go to the next one.
And your thoughts about where this goes now?
She should be in prison for life. They did that to let me see if I can remember his name. To one of the conservatives. I just forgot his name right now. I'm also having trouble with my memory, but she should be in prison. This person that was a conservative who was in prison, Roger Stone, an innocent man, is in prison, and she's still roaming around free. And she knows she can get away with murder because she's cool and everything. When they interview her, or they're investigating and they interview her, she's real cool. She acts real cool, like if nothing happened to us. No problem. No, I can't recall it. She should be in prison. What the hell's the matter with you? I can't wait the day to see her. People go into her house, pick her up, put her in handcuff, walking around right in front of the cameras in handcuff, and putting her in prison. And say, no, I'm innocent. No, don't worry. You say that in prison, from prison, after 100 years, if you last that long. Okay, let's go to the next one.
For the first time since 1988.
Hey, thank God the signal hasn't gone off.
To strike back.
Can't believe it.
For most of the media reports, many may only know that. His name, Arez Hamid. He was a husband, he was a father of 2 young sons, and he was a resident of California. And before he became a citizen, he was valiantly serving alongside our troops as a linguist. All of our hearts breaks for his wife and children who are left mourning his death. There are some in this chamber that seem to be downplaying his death, but his death matters. It matters to his family.
This is, by the way, the last video
It matters to the president.
for today.
And it matters to me. His death was unnecessary, unprovoked, and it deserved justice. That is why my next statement carries even more meaning. Red lines should mean something. In this administration, they do. Killing Narez was a red line. Planning to kill Americans is a red line. I'm confident that the right decision was to take out the man responsible for Narez's death and the death of hundreds of other Americans. Iran responded earlier this week by sending missiles to U.S. bases in Iraq. I believe we are all relieved and grateful that there was no American casualties. Iran appears to be pulling back from its strategy of provocation in the face of firm American determination. They seem to understand that de-escalation is the right time right now for them in the world. Now is the time for our country to come together and speak with one voice, not as Republicans, not as Democrats, but as Americans. Government would be able to manipulate members of Congress, Democratic presidential candidates, and the Western media. Yet here we are on this floor today. If President Trump's instinct is to put America first, his critics' instinct is to blame America first. The words of my Democratic colleagues, including the Speaker of the House, blame the United States for attacks Iran has been initiating for the past 4 decades. Now they want to limit the president's ability to defend America. That's just dangerous. And I want to clear up some news, Madam Speaker, that I actually even recently heard on this floor. I would probably consider it fake news that Democrats have told American people. Contrary to their claim, the resolution before the House today is non-binding. It is called a concurrent resolution. This resolution, if passed, won't go to the president's desk for signature. It won't have the power of law. Madam Speaker, I heard the chairman try to talk and try to claim that this had power. I know we have 3 co-equal branches of government. Madam Speaker, I think the chairman should actually look what the Supreme Court ruled on the Chadha case. That concurrent resolutions are unconstitutional as a means to limit the executive branch. I think I may need to read it twice, so let's do that. In fact, the Supreme Court ruled that in the Chadha case, the concurrent resolutions are unconstitutional as a means to limit the executive.
There will be no unfair new rulebook written solely for President Trump. The basic organization of the first phase of this trial will track with phase 1 of the Clinton trial, which all 100 senators voted for in 1999. I've said for months that is our preferred route. And by the way, Madam President, that is exactly what the American people want. 77% told a Harvard-Harris survey that the basic outline of the Clinton trial reserving the witness question until later in the proceedings ought to be good enough for this president as well. Fair is fair. In the same survey, 58% of Americans said they want Speaker Pelosi to do her job. Senators have lost patience with it, because this is not just some intramural tip between two houses in a bicameral legislature. This recklessness affects our entire country. When you take a step back, what has really happened over the last 3 weeks? What has happened? When you take a step back from the political noise and the pundits discussing leverage, by the way, that never existed, what have House Democrats actually done? This, Madam President, is what they have done. They have been bad enough that House Democrats gave in to the temptation of subjective impeachment that every previous House for 230 years had managed to resist. However unwise, that is their constitutional prerogative. They get to start it if they choose, but they do not get to declare that it can never be finished. They do not get to trap our entire country into an unending Groundhog Day of impeachment without resolution. A verdict, just like every American who is accused by their government, deserves a speedy trial. But look, this goes deeper than fairness to one individual.
Well, it's going to kind of
This is about what is fair to the entire country. There's a reason.
Look, I'm going to finish this off because the signal is going off quite often. And I got a funny feeling I'm just going to not be able to finish it. But this was the last video anyway of the day. The first one was more interesting, but this one, even though it's interesting, we know what's going on. Many of us conservative, and I think this is repeated because I think I already put a video where the last one speaking, I forget his name. It's just kind of like slow and like I say, a little bit boring. But you all understood anyway. But I'm going to finish this off like always. Donald Trump, you're the best. Of the president that I've lived under, because I'm not that old. I'm old. I'm already at this stage. But not as old as you are, sir. You have lived longer, but you have been a great president. To me, you've been great. The best. I hope in the future nobody's ever decides ever to make the mistake of going to the left, because they have turned into a communist party, complete communist party, taken over by the communists. If they ever do decide to make the mistake, go to the right, go to a Tea Party movement, which could be another great choice. But to the left would be a horrendous, destructive, and lethal mistake. Like I always do, I always pray for you, Donald Trump. I always pray for your family. God bless you, protect you always, including I always pray for Israel. I always write down in my last title when I do news on Israel, I stand with God and Israel eternally. And I God bless Israel eternally, including my country, the United States. God bless you eternally. And I hope, God, that Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, North Korea, and China could someday be free from communism. And the world free from Islam, which is also a destructive, oppressive, criminal organization. So God bless you all. Until the next time. Bye-bye.